Or, yeah, the village. The school has chickens.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
So I'm not. I just took the boys for a walk that way the other day. And I'm like, oh, how's that work?
Right?
Yeah. Village rules, you know.
Yeah, we should call Belson and get out of school. They just watch this. They just watch the sparks fly.
Yeah, they'd be stirring the pot.
I don't know. What'd you do?
Send a little picture.
As little as possible.
You gotta do it.
He's not doing shopping for a while. I'll say something.
All right, we'll get started. Shelley's not gonna be here, Harold's not gonna be here, I'm not sure about Bill, but maybe not. But we'll get started if we have comments catching up. We're not gonna have a quorum again, so the first item is short-term rental. I wanna wait until we have everybody here to have our final debate. Oh, okay. I was just getting started. How you doing?
I'm in.
You're here. You're good.
Sorry, I missed your voicemail. I was on vacation. I was out of the country. Oh.
I was just out.
Nice. I figured you figured it out by now.
What's that?
I figured you had a chance to review it all by now.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here's the rules there.
Where's Sandy? Home. Oh.
There you go.
Billy?
There you go. You got 2 minutes to read it.
Yeah, no pressure. Some of it you've seen before, I just printed them out, but we could talk about it. I was just starting to say, you know, we're gonna table the short-term rental. I would like to have, and hopefully it'll be next month, where the workshop is, where board meeting are attended by all 5 of us. Have a plan of events, rather than how it's been going. And Harold has been checking in and, you know, giving his inputs, but I'd rather have it be that way. But I did put it down there as a question if we want to tee it up, and I'm going to recommend against that unless someone has a different idea. Short-term rental,
I think we really just gotta, we need to define what we're trying to accomplish exactly.
Okay.
Like I said, that's where I would start. Like, what do we all agree we need to accomplish, and then work from there.
Okay. I
Right?
like the way you framed it. What are we trying to accomplish?
Like, let's just see if, let's see if we can get to a common consensus there before we initiate anything for any reason.
Well, it's interesting because that question has been answered in various ways in various times over the last year, now over a year. But why don't we put it all in one place? I'll put something together. I'll try to summarize it. I'll send it out ahead of time. People can look at it between now and next month and see if I've captured all the angles to that. Because if you ask people who are against them, what you're trying to accomplish is one answer. And if
Sure.
you're talking about people who are
Agreed.
for them,
I'm talking for us.
well, that's what informs
Based
us.
on the information we have. What do we all agree we're trying to accomplish?
Right, and I think that's, well, tell me if I'm wrong, should we start with a consolidation of the issues that have been raised in answering that question, and then each of us answers it?
Well, I mean, the only thing is the issues that were all raised, we're not really solving it. We're not really.
Right, because
We're
we're
not-
just gonna keep on fighting over
It's
it.
not, the shared lane thing doesn't matter, there's nothing we can do about that anyways. You know, so a lot of the concerns that were brought up, we're not really solving, or, I mean, I understand, you know, they're okay with like whatever preventative, whatever they think could be done, anything would be good in some of their minds, I think.
It's some, for some.
But, we're not, there's nobody that brought something up that we're doing what they asked, or what their problem was necessarily, on any side of it, really.
Neither side gets a full,
I'm just saying,
supportive
so-
answer, yeah.
I think that's what we really gotta define, in my mind. Like, is there something we can accomplish that we can all have a consensus on that makes sense? That's business friendly or short-term rental friendly and, makes just that something we can all agree on. Because at this moment, I don't think we're
I
quite
think
there.
we do, I think we can get something all together, I think we should. So let me see what I got in my notes then. What are we trying to accomplish? I like the question, based on inputs from the public, and then based on individual board members' viewpoints.
Right.
And table all those, bring those to the table next time. Hopefully we're all here, and go from there. Does that sound good to you, Susan?
Yeah, my feeling is we need, when we do something, we need to scale it down. I mean, because we're never gonna cover what everybody wants. I think we start with the basics, you know, like make sure it's up to code. They have enough area or whatever, you know, just the basic thing, as far as controlling speed limits and stuff, you know.
Yeah, some of that stuff.
Noise ordinance,
I think
we've already got rules for that.
If you look at the Airbnb or VRBO website, and you already look at what the rules are, just to be on the website, I think, I really think that would be something that would make sense to kind of match with, so it all kind of blends together anyways.
Yeah,
So
right.
if we're gonna have something, it's something, at least, no matter what, nobody's gonna argue against it, because they already gotta do it for them, and they already gotta improve it.
I like that logic, and that came up last time, and I think there's some logic to that, of just actually saying, look, if you're meeting the standards of an Airbnb or a VRBO,
And it's,
you're meeting the standard.
yeah.
And it's safe, and it's probably the least nuisance as possible to anybody else.
And the steps on there of how to, if there are problems.
Right.
Like I
How
said,
to resolve.
they'll suspend your account, and so it really kind of pushes it back on that vendor, which is our, you know, it almost polices everything for you.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'll work on that and get something out, and we can
I'll
start
find my
tuning.
notes from that last big meeting we had, I think I have them.
Yeah, it was like
That's a
2
couple years
Octobers
ago.
ago, I wanna
Yeah.
say, and it was
Yeah.
really helpful.
And I think if you frame it,
You
that
saw
we're
the
just,
first one, right?
I think you were there, the one that we had like the room was full, we had about 40 people.
if it's
Really good
framed,
inputs.
if it's framed, hey, we're just gonna put some guidelines so that there's something here, and by the way, these are the same guidelines that Airbnb, VRBO already
I think
require
it
you to
helps our
follow.
argument, right.
Then I think it just.
The individual who doesn't use a company and does it themselves might not be too happy, but then again, on the flip side.
It's not
everybody has.
it's not that bad, but like I said, they literally require all the pictures for CO2, smoke detector, right? So you already gotta do it.
Yeah,
So I think that'll be better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we all know there's, you know, we're not gonna please everybody.
right, but definitely in this category.
You know.
But I like the idea of having at least some definition and some basics, but that's, again, that's me answering this question of what we're trying to accomplish. And I think we will have some differences there that we can work through, hopefully. And we'll shoot for April. The next item, I'd sent this email out about the fund balances. I think we should have a good conversation about this. So what happens is, right about now, by the end of February, technically, we have to have our initial, it's called the annual financial report, the AFR, to the comptroller's office. So I've been working with Joanna and our auditor, Allied, Joe Naples from Allied. So we work on that. He does most of the work. He has us review it. There's questions he could ask. Shelley also gets involved sometimes. It goes in, and it becomes unofficial submission until the comptroller's office reviews it, asks questions for clarification. And so the numbers I have here in this email that I did copy of for you are the numbers from that AFR. So they should be pretty accurate. Now, the comptroller could literally come in and say, hey, that number's off, that number should be this number, please explain. So some of that might happen over the next 30 days, and if it does, I'll let you know. Usually, Joe Naples is really good at this, and Joanna, of course, is terrific. So usually these numbers stick, but it's an unofficial summary of our fund balances. And I wanted to put it in terms of not only here's the numbers, but also remind everybody that we do have a fund balance policy. It was drafted and approved back in 2018 because of the last time comptrollers came, and it was something we didn't have. And I put in the email just as a reminder that each of the funds, each of the accounts, A, DA, B, and DB, should have 15 to 25% fund balance. And that number is calculated based on the actual reserve divided by the expenses for that year. So this would be all 2025, up through the end of December. What does that snapshot look like? And I think that the biggest, there's 2 foot stompers for me. The biggest one is that A is not healthy yet. It's masked healthy. It's sort of healthy. And the comptrollers are going to give us a hard time because what we did is we moved the cemetery funds over, which as you can see is $78,000. And also the youth fund can be accounted against A. So that masks that, we have $62,000 A fund balance, but actually the A fund is still in remediation from the lawsuit, and it's at a negative 33,000. So all those numbers are there. Hopefully you've had time to look at it. It's going to get better this year because the biggest reason is because of health insurance, but as you know, the health insurance comes out of A, DA, and DB. So it's not like all of that health insurance savings can be applied to A. It can't.
Right.
It's already set, the percentages that come out of those accounts, but a good portion of it will. And we'll also have the NI class for a full year going into the A. So hopefully between those two, we'll finally turn the A fund proper into a positive number. We'll get close. And meanwhile, we'll have those other two still counting against it. The other big one is the way DA and DB have been managed, and DB in particular is being applicable for this current year. Thank goodness Roger manages it the way he does. He tries to underspend on certain categories. He wants the budget to reflect, I need all these categories to be at this number, and he justifies them very well. And those who want to get involved this year and seeing how that unfolds, start usually in August and September. It's a very interesting conversation. But then he says, okay, but if I don't want to decrease those, but I know that if it's a good year in this category, I won't have to spend all that, that's going to take off the amount that I'm going to draw from reserve. Because as you can see, he's drawing from reserve more than he has in reserve. Now, DB is a healthy reserve, but DB can't take a double hit. Right. So that's why I put those lines in there that explain how Roger manages to juggle them. And he does, but maybe there's a different way to go about that. One could argue, and I've done this in a couple of the line items from DA and DB in particular, and said, look, Roger, it's 4 years in a row, you've underspent this, let's bump it down, so we're not taking as much as we think we're gonna have to take from reserve. And he's agreed to it, and in other categories he says, yeah, but over here I need it to increase. And then looming over all of that as the item number 6 at the end, I wanted to mention again, we don't know exactly where we're going to get chips, snow and ice, those are kind of the two categories from the state, and we also haven't had his proposal yet for the next big equipment purchase. He wants to buy a truck, pickup truck. He was super busy over the winter, hasn't gotten to it, but he will probably by next month, I'm hoping. And then also, we have to start thinking about the next snowplow, which would be about, well, let's say it's about 3 years from now, which means you probably want to put it on purchase about 2 years from now, the latest, maybe even next year. Which means, okay, where's that $350,000 or $400,000? You probably heard this from just being in the meetings, but that money from the state can now be earmarked for equipment. It's ideally for how many roads you got, how many miles you got. This is how much you get from the state for roads, right. But it can be earmarked that way. So it's a catch-22. Obviously, the more you do that with equipment purchases, the less conceivably you will do for roads. But again, I think he does a fabulous job with the team that he has to make it work. So I want to spend a little bit of time on that. If you look down at the bottom, number 5 also just shows you the summary of percentages. The only one that's off right now is B. It's a very small fund, and I think we'll be okay. Just looking at a snapshot, it's going to be plus a little bit, but it's not something we're worried about. It's the A, DA, and DB that you really got to watch closely because of the amount of money involved. Obviously, DB is at 28.8%, could come down another 100,000 and still be pretty close to 15% anyways. But do we want to do that? We may not. We may have to use some of that for equipment purchases. So that's the summary of the fund balances, and I want you all to be aware of. Any questions?
Can Roger move money around from fund to fund, or do you have to pretty much keep them where it's at?
Once you place the budget in effect, so that's the November vote, and then starting January 1st, you can't move anything around unless you do it by a vote. And then even then, you have to do a resolution, and this internal to this year, if we need to do that, you could, but we'd have to do a vote, and then it's subject to all sorts of scrutiny, and as it should be, because you're tweaking your budget, and there's steps for that. But, basically you ride with what you have. So if all of a sudden one of the funds gets a big hit, like a lawsuit, then we had to go, okay, and we did this, internal to a year and a half ago through last year, we said, oh, we gotta really be careful about spending in A, because the lawsuit money came out of A. And so, you know, that's internal to the year how you do it, you gotta kind of, now, within A, what happens, let's say, at the end of the year, when we authorize the bookkeeper to balance the books, that end of year vote that we usually throw on like the last couple of days of December, there'll be some tweaks within those accounts. So all of A fund can be looked holistically, and you can move a little bit from here to A, a little bit from there to A. It's authorized by resolution. Again, you know, not between A, oh yeah, we had a great year in DB, so we're gonna move it over to A, which didn't do so well. You can't do that at the end of the year. What you can, within those accounts, do some tweaking, and it gets approved at that vote we do at the end of the year. Is that answer your question?
Yeah, and then the other question I had was the night class money.
Yeah, did I pass that out? Yeah, so
yeah,
night class is already on the move. If you look to the beginning balances, right, you can see we didn't take anything from A or B initially. I'm sorry, the beginning balances, but the contributions didn't go in initially because a lot of things had to be paid first, and there was that whole debate about, you know, should we hold the fire department's money? Well, we're a pass-through for the fire department, so we did. But the counties, we did hold back a little bit in the way the county gets paid. So we are taking advantage of some of that money. So the contributions, the beginning balances, but if you jump over to dividends, you can see how each account, let's see, A account, and this is just snapshot for February, as you can see, was $527. The total amount for February that our dividends is $4,107.
And the dividends have to go back into the fund they were taking out.
Correct, they stay in that fund, but they are additional income that we can, or additional revenue that we can count towards the revenue expense account.
So it's not money ready available.
It's available technically, but we're keeping it all there, we're rolling it over in there, because, you know, now it'll be $635,527. And then that's what's capitalized each month, and then that each month, so that, and obviously the other thing that happens is we start spending down those contributions get transferred over to the spending accounts to pay for things as we go, so, you know, you maximize as much as you can keeping money in there, but it only lasts for a little while. Good questions. So the budget year to date, we just got this, so you may not have had a chance to look at it, but it's the one that's the revenue expense comparison, and Steve made a good suggestion on it. As you'll see, the format's a little different. It has what was last year at this moment. So there's two lines for 2025 original budget, and then what we actually expended or revenue or expense at that moment in time compared to this moment in time. So you can see some of the differences. I took a quick scan. I didn't get into a lot. We can talk more about it on Thursday if you want. But it looks pretty good. As I said though before, we're going to see a big difference this year. And if you look at the very end of the A, this would be on page 3. You know, we originally budgeted $50,320 for hospital medical insurance, and that'll be a lot less. So, the A account just as an example. Any questions on that? This is the one that just came. I just printed one.
It came right before we walked in.
Yeah, I just printed one for me. Everybody take a look at it, and then we'll talk about it Thursday if there's any questions. Cemetery committee met. Steve and I and Roger and Shelley had a great conversation. We are just starting on we've looked at several other towns and starting at looking at what are our regulations going to be. We've discovered that we may not have to have it be a local law. It could just be regulations. That's what they are now. And that's simpler, right? But it also wasn't what our previous town insurance company recommended. We no longer have HCC, so that's one way to look at it. We don't have to do necessarily what they said, but they gave us a whole template for a cemetery law. We looked at it, and it's got some good ideas in it, but we may not go that way. We may end up, as a committee, recommending, let's just look at our regulations and update them. That was one thing, so we're working on that. The second thing, Steve asked a good question and did some research, and you can touch on this, Steve. It was, well, you know, we're spending way more than we're bringing in on cemeteries. So either we increase that tax line in our budget each year, or we start to invest in some type of savings that would allow us to have it take dividends. Is that a fair summary?
Yeah, there's a fund, essentially, we can create. It'll take probably 15 years before it's a profitable fund, but it'll just flip that expense around eventually.
Eventually.
It's gonna, but it's never been done, so it's gonna take some time to do. But I mean, that cemetery is costing the town ridiculous money.
Yeah.
But we can literally make it like a profitable entity, per se.
Profitable meaning that any money that you get then will be used for
It's-
enhancements of the cemetery.
And it's going into a fund that'll actually grow money legally.
And I've discovered a couple towns that have done this. So what we'll do is, by our next meeting, we'll try to get some of those examples. One of the big questions, if we go that route, is do we keep the charge for a cemetery plot and for a burial, those two charges the same? And pretty much we're the lowest charging, and we're probably gonna have to increase it. If we do increase it, it's a board decision. If we do, then the difference between what we're charging now and what we would charge in the future would be the exact amount we could take and put into this investment. Right.
We gotta do it, otherwise it's gonna be, the cemetery will be unsustainable in 15 years. Like, it's gonna cost $200,000-$300,000 a year to have a cemetery, and we're gonna have 13,000 coming in. We're like, you know, it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah, all right. No, it's like $40,000, and, you know, I helped the Catholic Church.
So we gotta do it, we gotta
They're
start.
in the same boat.
Start sooner or later.
But it's a big decision to say we're gonna go from 400 to 600. I think it's 400.
We have to.
You know, that's a big decision, and we have to weigh it carefully and have that conversation and then decide. Okay, and then when we decide that, we decide how much of that increase, if not all, would then go to this account and then establish that account. So this would be something over the next, you know, few months. This isn't an immediate thing.
Yeah, I look at the figures, and,
Yeah.
It's ugly.
you know, it's like taking a dog with an empty bowl every night.
Yeah. A lot of cemeteries, like I was saying, in the church cemeteries, in Catholic churches, cemeteries, there's 5 of them in Orleans County. Same boat.
They don't have those
They're behind the power curve, and they charge twice as much as we.
They should do the
Still-
same thing.
And volunteer, mostly it's volunteer
Right.
grass cutting and weeding. All right, so we'll hopefully have a real solid update on that next month. Campers and campgrounds, Dave can't be here. He might be able to be here Thursday if he can. I'd like him to speak to it, but after our last meeting, I said, you know, we're ready for your input based on what you're seeing. And I said, so what do we have, like a dozen? Where we might have like a dozen campers that are looking much more like fixed homes than they should. And he said, no, times 3. So he said it's a big number. He said, for him, he's neutral. He says, this isn't a problem for me. But I can tell you, if the county gets involved, and all of a sudden, all these 36, let's say, take that number, 36, don't have approved septics, the county health department can shut them all down, and then you're in a pickle. So he's got concerns like that. He's not saying, you know, if someone's wanting to live that lifestyle, or that's all they can afford, that's more of a board decision, right? But it's also, he's concerned because there are things that are going on that could be quite shifty and not safe and not for the best health and welfare of people who are living in those. So that's why he's saying this really should be addressed.
Do you have like a porta potty on your property with a camper and have no issues?
You can. The fire that happened on County Line Road, that's what he did. He rolled in a camper and he got a porta potty because he wanted to be able to leave, not, you know, try to empty his sewer out
So
of
the health
his.
department could just leave him alone?
I don't know how long you can do that, but that is something I know specifically happened in this case, because he didn't want to have to keep rolling his camper out to take care of the septic, so he got a porta potty.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's like,
really
okay,
nice.
it's not ideal, but I don't know how long he did it for, I don't know if he's changed it, but.
just saying, because some people, I mean, that's what they have.
That's right, that's all they have.
It doesn't seem right to, I mean, there's gotta be an option that's affordable, but I'm looking at retirement, I'm looking for options that's affordable.
I don't know, I think the porta potties aren't cheap, I
They're
know,
not.
Right.
so if
But
you're
I
for a
wonder if
construction
you-
site, you're talking a couple $100 a month.
I
No,
wonder
they're
if you
not
rented them long-term or something
So
for,
probably
like,
more
how
than-
people, how often they had to
And
clean them
what,
out.
right, what are they looking for?
I mean, if you got one and it was for a year and they only had to clean it out once or twice, would there be a,
It's monthly, unless you can buy it, but I mean, they're living that way if you're not buying a porta potty. Most of it.
Then you still have to figure out emptying it and where you empty
I
it and
mean,
all.
I remember on the lake, we had a outhouse and it was acceptable back then, but I drove by where we used to live recently and it's very nice there now. No outhouse.
Yeah.
My brother up at Cape Benton, on a piece of property, they let them put a holding tank in for the camper.
Mm-hmm.
You actually pump up into, and then you pay to have it come.
It's all, it's a holding tank. So, you know, people are managing one way or the other, I suppose, it's just, if they have a septic and it hasn't been approved, that's a big red flag.
Right,
for the county.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So that we'll table, but just be aware that he really wants our feedback and our guidance. And, he's gonna have a lot of information when he is able to make it. The ambulance meeting, that's the slides I sent you, or gave you. So, overall, my take on the meeting was, it was a good meeting. It was attended by Marguerite Sherman, the mayor, Chief Coble, the fire chief, Scott Bileski, I think that's how you say his name. He's one of the trustees for Medina, and then Brian Napoli and Jim Hemingway, the two other supervisors. So the first slide shows that because we do have a full-time paid fire department EMS, Medina's response time is better than all the others. And that's just a fact. And that's what the second page shows. The numbers on the second page are basically what the first page represents pictorially, if that makes sense. And this isn't something like you gotta, they handed these out at the meeting, and so we were grappling with it at the same time. And I don't mean to do that to you, I just finally got these from Marguerite, and I just printed them for you. So it just takes some time to digest it, but just be aware that, you know, we have good service. It's never been a question about service. Not perfect. Bill has a good example of something the other day that you mentioned. The third page, showing the blue and white chart, this one, also very interesting. It tells you, this is the one I focused on the most when I was at the meeting. I said, you know, when you look at the call rates, so let's take total number of requests, right, the third column, and then the next one over is total 911 requests, and then they removed a couple of categories. Drop calls, okay, whatever, and then go over to mutual aid, total mutual aid. Well, mutual aid was like 72 calls last year, right? Like, who gets funded back on that? I said, well, no one, it's mutual aid. Okay. And then transfers, the other big eye-opener. If you go all the way to the fifth column from the right side, the number of transfers, you see that? Hospital to hospital. So someone initially gets picked up, taken to Medina Hospital, they're looked at, and the doc says, you need to go to, you know, wherever. And there's another chart that shows that on another page. Look at that number, 661. So out of a total number of calls, 2480 from the first column to the number of transfers, that's a significant percentage. Well, how does that get charged? Well, if it's a transfer, it's reimbursable through Medicare, which is okay. Medicare's reimbursement is okay. But it can also, you know, if someone is on Medicaid, it's always a horrendous, I guess, reimbursement rate. They never get back. So one of the ways that, it is one of the ways that they kind of break even, but a lot of these other calls, they'll not make any money. And they'll get calls like, someone will say, you know, as soon as they get to the house, yeah, I don't want to take them to the hospital. Well, is that a transfer, or is that someone requesting to go strong? And there's a handful, like this is the fire chief speaking, there's a handful where they just want to get taken to Buffalo, because then they're going to hang out in Buffalo for a few days, and then they're going to crash back here or something, right? And it's-
Right.
They get taken to ECMC,
Those are my
I'm
people.
looking at, I just go like they do, Susan. You know anybody like this?
They don't go to it, they just go to the emergency room for everything. If they get poison ivy, they go to the emergency, they go everywhere.
And they don't wanna go to the
They don't
doctor.
have a
Say,
doctor,
oh, yeah,
no, they don't want it, they wanna go back to Buffalo, stay the night, get warmed up, then go
Get a-
out.
get a meal maybe,
Deal,
then-
deal their
Yeah.
deal and then go.
So there's a number of those calls, and,
Wow.
yeah, lots there. The next one shows you the hospitals that the predominantly are transferred to. That was an eye-opener to me. I mean, at least this meeting, they brought a lot of data, and there's more that they need to provide. I'll talk to speak to that at the end. But that's a helpful one, you can see. Now, some of these, he admitted, some of these are upon request, some of them are because that's the hospital the doctor recommends, right? And he didn't have the breakdown of that. That might be an interesting fact.
Why in the world would we transfer somebody to Wyoming County Hospital?
Or
That's,
Chautauqua.
like I said,
What?
some of them are by request.
That's all the way down in
So
Jamestown.
if the ambulance
Yeah.
goes to my house, I can ask to go anywhere I want?
You can ask. We did ask him that. He said, they always ask, and if the doctor's recommending it, that's one thing. They're gonna take him to that hospital, whether they're asking for something else or not. And if they ask and they have a valid reason, there might be a reason that they would do it. So if someone says, I need to be, I'm from,
Right.
Warsaw.
Sure.
So anyways,
Yeah.
he said they don't keep track of the data, but those, except at this level, they don't get into that. Why did they deliver someone to Chicago? Don't know. Is that it? Is that all the ones I, oh no, I made the one more copy. So then, interestingly enough, Medina has 4 ambulances. The total number of ambulances available in the county, let me see if I got this right, is 7. The most that we could have is 7, I guess. They were trying to explain this. It's on the back, sorry, the back of that sheet has that number. How many calls required you had 2 ambulances respond and needed, how many needed 7? And that gives you the number. That was also interesting. Now, of course, that's countywide. So what we asked for, a couple things. First of all, we asked for, and I already have the data going back for when we signed the last contract, we had 2 years back worth of data showing the number of Yates calls. And Yates calls were averaging about 5.5% of the calls. And of the portion that the 3 towns, Ridgeway, Shelby, and Yates, should contribute, we've argued that we should pay based on that utilization rate. I made the case again. And I've asked for that data. They have it for the last 2 years, and they haven't sifted through it and provided it to us yet. The second thing is, they didn't have a budget yet. And of course, the village budget is coming up. So like by next month, they're gonna be having their debates about their budget, right?
And that's gonna.
You haven't even shown us what you're gonna charge us yet. So we need both of those things. What are the numbers of actual Yates calls versus Ridgeway and Shelby? And then, what's the budget? And in the budget, I specifically said to the chief, you must know the difference between the total budget, which includes a lot of fire equipment, fire responses, whatever, and the amount that goes towards EMS and ambulance. And he hemmed and hawed a little bit because, some of the things you start out on the call and you send a fire truck, you didn't send the ambulance, and the fire truck, are we charging that against the fire side or whatever? So I just said, you gotta come up, last time we negotiated this, you came up with a number, not him. The previous guy, I guess, stepped away because of the ladder truck that's too tall, yeah. But the numbers were there. I don't want to say it was 450,000. I'll actually dust off the last one and show you, because I'm hoping they'll provide this in a matter of weeks. By the end of this month, we should have that budget figure, like, okay, it's $450,000. Medina has the bulk of the calls, so Medina will pay for 300, and the rest will be divvied up between the towns. And when they say, oh, the rest will be divvied up between the towns, we'll say, yeah. And of those 3 towns, Yates, the smallest utilization rate, smallest budget, smallest population, and you can't charge us the same thing as you charge the others. So I'll make that case again. We may win, we may lose.
They're gonna say,
Prepare for it to go up. Bilski, whatever his name is, he was like, you guys should be paying way more. And when Brian and Jim Henway heard that, they sat up to the table a little like, oh, hold on. You're rattling off numbers, he had some numbers on a sheet of paper. You haven't provided it to us. The fire department hasn't provided to us what amount is actually ambulance. And you're telling us, we should, expect, major increases. He's a board member, he's a trustee, so I'm sure he's gonna try to convince his colleagues. And they said, okay, so take 300,000 off, just right off the top. What do you mean? He goes, well, I have 2 volunteer fire departments. They get $300,000. And guess what? They do mutual aid back. So don't tell me that my residents aren't already paying. We're up to 24,000, I think. Yeah. So I said, yeah, take the 224 off of that, and then Ryan came up with his number. So there's a few of them, and I've heard Deb Podolsky or whatever at a meeting also be like this. So there's a mindset among some of the trustees at the village that all this should be paid more. And we pushed back pretty hard in that meeting, but I suppose depending on what happens next week, we'll see what happens as well.
Whether you use it or not,
To drive farther.
I think that Virginia's probably gonna win there.
Who's gonna win?
I think Podolsky's gonna win.
Right, I mean,
She's
and
been
she
there long.
has
She's been
been,
around forever.
yeah, and she's been outspoken and quoted, the town should be paying more. And she wasn't at this meeting, but,
I think she's gonna take it.
yeah. And then we'll have a very tight window about, well, what's your budget, and show us the numbers, and what are you gonna charge us? So, now, it doesn't take effect until 1 January. That's the end of the story. Town insurance, you guys all saw that. I just wanted to remind you that we're now under, the broker is Gallagher. And again, thanks to Steve and Shelley and Roger for reviewing those items. I summarized it. I don't know if anybody had any questions. We're up and running. They were very seamless in getting us switched over. And now, one of the big things we have now is cyber coverage that we didn't have before. It's costly, but we do have that. So I appreciate your patience, and of course the vote from last time allowed me to sign it, but I did make sure I ran it by everybody, and nobody saw anything at least that they wanted to raise as a concern. Summer youth, you've got some updates.
So, the school is gonna be pretty much unavailable for the summer recreation program, and, they also are gonna struggle to get their summer school program. So I had a meeting on last Thursday, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon with, the school superintendent, and then, Elissa Smith, and our director, Carly Sturdivant, as well as their financial guy. And prior to the meeting, I met with the Presbyterian Church, and I spoke with a representative from the Methodist Church, and got an overwhelming yes, we want to help, because our only other option was to take the kids up to the YW or YMCA, whichever it is, in Medina there. I inquired about how much it would cost to bus them, would the school be willing to cover that? I got kind of like a nothing. So when I reached out to the churches, both were very open to the idea of allowing the school kids to use their buildings and possibly classrooms, so that the summer rec program could go on as planned, and that the summer school would also partner with us. So there's about 60 kids that actually get instruction. They would basically, once the meeting was over, I felt much relieved, because we could basically hand it over to them. Both the pastor and another rep from the Methodist Church. The Methodist Church was on board, but they got to run it by their customers. But they're gonna handle it. The kids are gonna get a breakfast and a lunch every day, more of a bag type situation. We're gonna keep it in town, utilizing what we have, buildings that are pretty much empty in the summer. So it's gonna be a win-win for everybody. And it's a volunteer program, so there shouldn't be any issues with kids going into church. And I think it could be an outreach for the church, the kids, the parents, everybody. I think it's a win-win. And I was relieved that they seemed like it was, the teachers and everybody seemed like it wasn't gonna be that big of a deal, which all I could see is liability issues, kids walking across the streets, that sort of thing. So they are gonna need more staff, and that will be resolved by teachers, will be paid for by the school district, as well as the aides, and they will work in partnership with the summer rec people as well. So we're gonna have a crossover there. Then we'll have our normal summer rec people, and then I have to work on getting a grant. There's a grant through the county that I'm gonna try to apply for, to get, some more staff. I'm waiting for the final numbers from Elissa Smith and Carly Sturdivant to apply for a grant that the county would pay for some employees to make sure kids are getting back and forth across the street safely, that they're being accounted for. We would have to do some, volunteer hit names and that sort of thing to run, to make sure that the criminal background checks, to make sure that anyone that volunteered from either church was safe to go. But the teachers, or the staff there did not see it as a big issue. They just wanna see the building and they're gonna make it work, so. I asked for the budget to include summer swimming, the summer rec program, and she said there will be additional costs because of the fact that they're using other buildings and there's gonna be some things that they're gonna need to go. The churches understood that there may be issues with basic things like toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning supplies, and the school is gonna try to work all that out with the churches, so that's also off of our shoulders, but the budget will be a little bit increased from last year, and hopefully we can waive some of that through the county grant. Some of the costs of the extra people through the county grant. The budget, I will ask the foundation, I contacted the foundation and said we're a little behind because we just didn't know if we were gonna have a place. No problem, we know it's coming, we should be good, so I'm working that out as soon as I get the budget, so that's a bonus.
And they're trying to get the budget to you by the end of this month, because the
Yeah,
next
I said I need
foundation meeting is like the mid-April.
Yeah, I said I need it by mid, I'm gonna have it ready to go and just plug in the numbers. We will still be responsible for, our payments, our trainings, our, in-kind services, and then everything else.
I think we budgeted, well, I can look it up real quick. We budgeted enough. I think now, a couple of questions, those additional costs like bathroom supplies or whatever, if they're being taken care of, and the more staff by the school, then that's good. The summer swimming, we need those numbers because.
Yeah, they're gonna get that from me, and then, she said I'm hoping about.
You marked 10,500, but we usually spend about 14.
Yeah,
Oh, so.
and then we got
What about-
15 last year from the town, and, so that
Foundation.
could go up just a little bit from the foundation, yeah.
Yeah. What about the insurance? Did the school say anything about insurance?
They did not, but I'll double check that, but
Yeah,
both
we'll need
churches.
to run that to ground.
Both churches have liability insurance, umbrella type policies like the school. No, that did not come up, but Dan, Dragula is the financial guy, he was gonna make sure that those things were handled, so I'll double check with him on that. But it's like everybody involved is a large entity, the town of Yates, school, both churches, there's gonna be
It's a great,
all that stuff.
really, you know.
So they'll be able to use the playground.
They'll be able to use the playgrounds, there's gonna be equipment in the back, but there's gonna be a fenced-in area, so they'll be able to use the sports fields, the tennis courts, there's certain things they can use, and it's the closest proximity to both churches, it really worked out well, so.
That's a lot, so I guess with the county grant, do you want me to try to check on that, or, I can check on insurance, I'm
I
pretty
got it.
sure I wanna run this by the new
Yeah,
insurance
absolutely.
broker. Yeah.
I'll run it by Dan as well, I can forward you what Dan sent me, I haven't gotten to it yet.
Okay.
And this week.
And send me also, do that, and send me also a point of contact about insurance at the school. Who would have that point?
Dan Gula, okay, yeah, cause the school just covers it normally, cause it's.
Yeah, it's a little tricky. I'm pretty sure we'll have to have some type of statement, I'm not sure the insurance terms, that say, yes, they're employees of the town, because they are, the people who, Carly
Accounting
and,
people,
yeah, the people who are running it, Carly and the others are employees
we already
of the
have
town.
them covered though, right?
Right, but it's at the school, so anything that had happened at the school would have been covered by the school's
Right,
insurance.
right, right.
And then we get listed as secondary, whatever the
Yeah.
terms are.
We would
That's
put a
just something
rider
we
on like we
could,
do for the 4th of July, they provide a, certificate of, it's like a certificate of
Liability.
insurance that
Yeah.
covers certain days and.
That's all,
yeah.
we just need to make sure we get
Yeah.
that done. Great, thank you.
Was there anything, okay, the scholarship, if I can send that to you and you could take a look at it, that'd be great, cause I'm not gonna get to it till probably
Yeah,
the following week, I have something
right, and that,
all week.
no, that and also the foundation's grant
Yeah, we'll get that,
application, I'll help you with that.
okay,
Thank you.
Yep.
Street dance? Wanna give us
Street
a little
dance is coming together, so I spoke with a couple of people from the Lions Club did a chicken barbecue in the parking lot of the Birch, and they might consider taking that over for the street dance this year. We have the band, Eric Johnson also is working on trying to get a brief fireworks show. All that's gonna be handled by them. I have a couple of volunteers helping me to get sponsors to pay for the band, and then, the advertising as well. So I think we're gonna be doing most of that without even touching our budget for, most of it without touching the street dance budget, but it's a way to bring new people in. We also got a band that called and wanted to play, he's from Medina. I wanted to try to do both, but it was gonna be a little too much, so I booked them for next year, penciled them in. They're local, I think people would enjoy hearing them, and I hear good things about them, so that's
You said they
going
play
on.
down here at the library too, don't they?
Yep, he was very gracious, and, so I gave him 2 dates for next year, we confirmed that up. If we decide to do it again,
Good, keep it going.
the people like it, the couple of women that volunteered loved it first time last year, and they're local, and the one is willing to beat the drum and get some money in, so that would be good. I'm not good at that part, as I guess.
I just remembered something, when we were talking to the new insurance broker, the Gallagher guys, they were asking questions about things like this, and they said, do you have a bounce house? I said, yeah, we do have a bounce house. He goes, did you get a separate insurance for it, or did the bounce house company insure it? I said, that's a good question.
I asked them, and they had insurance on it.
Yeah, he said that when you do a bounce house, if they are saying they have coverage,
Yeah,
he said, we're the type of broker, we want to see their coverage.
okay, it was in, I have an
It's a
email.
good, it's just as
Yeah.
though that they're playing a role for us, like, that's insufficient.
Yeah.
Or, you're gonna have to put someone there, perhaps,
Right.
to
I'm
run
not
kids
sure,
in it.
the bounce house is nice, but it's kind of a pain, and nobody does it anymore out here. It was hard to get one, it was
Last year,
small,
we were just
and it
few
wasn't a
kids,
very
more
good one.
adults than
And they were there the whole time, but there was only a handful, yeah.
Yeah, I shouldn't,
So,
it's
yeah,
up
it
to
may
you
not be
guys,
worth
but,
it.
yeah, I think that it was more trouble for me than it was worth, to be honest. And the first year was good, they were great, they came from Middleport, but they're not doing it anymore. They really hooked it up well, it was
Well,
set, and,
I'm not set on that,
And there weren't a lot of kids
yep.
at the dance.
so it might not be worth it.
So,
I mean, it's mostly adults.
So
Yeah,
the highway, Justin brought up a good point last time, we could do better there, and we have to, people don't
How we
touch the
should.
signs.
Yeah, that reminds me, we want to see if we can get different types of signage.
I've been trying to, apparently the fire department no longer has an auxiliary, you know how they used to have like people who come out and help direct traffic, so I'm
The
gonna,
county,
pardon me?
the sheriffs.
The sheriffs don't have the staff, they're short.
They have auxiliary though.
Well, they don't have an auxiliary anymore.
No more?
No.
Oh, wow.
Nobody does, it's kinda weird, but I think, I'm gonna ask the fire department if they'd consider it, cause it could be a good PR thing
Unions
for them
kill
as well,
that.
but that's one thing I gotta.
Unions kill that.
They can take a boot out.
I'll check with Roger
Yeah.
about, and Justin about signage. I think, I don't know, Justin, I think we ought to have one that said, they must make these, I've seen them elsewhere, closed to only
Through traffic, or no
only
through
local
traffic,
traffic, or closed to through traffic, or something.
yeah.
We'll see. We'll figure something out. And the county might have it. Something we can borrow.
So we'll work on that. I got a couple suggestions from John Belson, and
Okay. Good.
it
Thank
was an
you.
interesting Lions Club meeting. It got a little hairy, but we straightened everything out.
Yeah, well,
And everybody was,
I certainly do appreciate you playing wearing a lot of different hats around here, and the Lions Club is one of them for sure.
it's like, I was like, what are we doing?
It makes a lot, it makes some alcohol in too.
I don't drink, so.
Yeah, but
The other ones were drinking,
do.
so I'm thinking,
You're the
I
only
should come
whistleblower there,
in, yeah.
That's one of the reasons
I can't keep up, so then I'm thinking, okay, just remember, we're all in a different little situation here, so patient, I was patient.
State of consciousness.
Yes.
I'm sorry. All right, water grants. So, Bill, you had brought this up, and then two things popped up. The one you saw, and then there was another one. So, Bob, John claims that they're going to try to seek a grant. I don't know how much he's going to have Devin do it. We'll see. But it's good to press them now in case we got to deal with some major ticket item like the water tower. There's other things at the plant too, so I'm curious to see what they come up with.
I was actually planning on having talked to John.
Good.
And talking about
What we might try to help them with.
what I tried to do and try to put something together, so when these grants come up, they pretty much want them shelved already. You know, they don't want something that's gonna take 10 years to get going.
To
They
develop
want,
it.
okay, here are the plans, this is what we wanna do. You know,
Yeah. And here's how much it costs, and so, you know, you're ready to get that grant from either Tenny or from some of the other consolidated grants that they have.
we don't know how long she's gonna stay, but,
No, we'll see.
yeah. Doing a good job.
Yeah. Roundtable, any topics that we missed?
I went to that, town board dinner,
Yes.
and the subject was on reassessment. Of course, we don't have to do that, but there are a few towns that are doing it. But, so I brought the information I got from them. The first sheet is, the average home cost in the counties throughout New York State. And you'll take a notice where we stand.
Thank you.
I'm moving into my garage, so.
Yeah.
I seriously am.
But, it is, I think we're bottom.
Well, it's alphabetical order, isn't it? I don't think
Yeah,
yeah.
Well,
So,
St. Lawrence County is lower, but.
yeah.
Oneida.
Yeah, Oneida might be a
Niagara.
little lower, yeah.
Niagara.
But,
Ontario.
Niagara's pretty high.
How is Ontario? Victor?
and he, then, Alan,
Oh,
I
Yates
can't
is higher
remember the
than
first
Niagara
name.
County? Well, Niagara County's got a lot of,
How are we the same as Victor?
oh, Victor doesn't have a whole lot going.
Ontario County, I mean, you're paying twice we're paying.
Yeah.
No, that's not what this says, though.
oh, these are, okay, yeah.
Wow. $2.99 in Yates? Seems
Yeah.
high.
That's the county.
County.
No, it says Yates at the bottom.
Yeah,
It's
Yates
county.
County,
Yates County.
Oh.
Yates
Yeah.
County.
yeah,
These are the counties.
yeah.
That's on the other side of Rochester, right?
187, that's
It's south, yeah, it's
South.
south,
Okay.
pretty
Right.
south.
And then the next ones are just the PowerPoints that they went through on how and why they reassess.
Rockland County, 715,000. Oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh. I wouldn't even make it to the garage, I'd be trying to fit in the mailbox. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
Westchester's the worst, I think. Yeah,
That's
750.
insanity.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I thought they,
And then they're talking electric's gonna supposed to go up
It
exorbitantly.
My
next
electric
year.
was $900.
yeah,
It's supposed to go up another 4,000, they're talking average, it's getting crazy.
and there is a program, I can't remember the name of it, I signed up for it, you can get 20% off your supply.
Do they come around to your house?
Yeah,
They can shut your, yeah, I said no, they can shut you off.
yeah, which is, you know, as long as you pay your bill, you're good. But
Yeah.
it did, it took $98 off my bill,
No kidding.
yeah, so.
That's
Was it
great.
well attended?
You shouldn't have to sign up for
Was the
something
meeting well
that's cheaper
attended?
electric.
Yes, it was. There were 3 county legislators there, Lynn, Skip Draper, and Fitzann. First time I had the pleasure to talk to him.
Yep.
Very nice man. He kind of led the meeting. Big concern in the IGA, it's the EDA.
EDA.
Yeah. They were there, and the concern was about getting capital projects and businesses off the ground. It was taking so long to do, and if your community has a business starting, the sooner you get it into the EGA, the better. She's saying some take 10 years, which is, and they said the same thing, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's, you know, something takes that long, but, you know, but bring it in to our particular county is, you know, because we don't offer a lot. Even the industrial park up in Medina is too far off the main grid to really supply the factors what they need.
Yeah, that's why Steve was created,
Yeah.
closer to the 90.
Yeah, so,
Did you see that latest thing a month ago or more? Cardone offering land.
Oh, yeah, look, yeah, 280 acres right there.
It's not a bad move. I wonder if they'll bite. I mean, that's the thing though. You're going an extra, whatever, 10, 12 miles from the 90 for all your truck traffic, and I just think there's.
And there's no infrastructure there at all. You know, God bless Joe.
You think the village of Medina has trouble,
Yeah.
ambulance and fire? When do they, see that bill? Trying to increase their sewage plant or whatever. Well, I just was wondering if they brought up the sales tax, because I think a lot of us,
No.
a lot of us put that feedback, remember we had that survey?
Yeah.
Said, yeah, we'd love to have a full meeting, all hands on deck for a sales tax.
But,
That'd be nice.
but they did. They would like villages or townships to sponsor the dinner and pick the subject that they would like to be talked about.
Oh,
So I don't know if that's something we can consider or what it takes to sponsor the
You're
dinner.
welcome, BK. You can do
White
the sales
Birch.
tax issue.
White Birch, Lynn's paying, and sales tax.
And Lynn's paying?
Yeah, we're not paying, Yates isn't paying,
Harold's paying.
it's a county meeting.
But I just, I thought I'd throw that in there. I
Nice
found
offer.
it
I
very
give them credit.
informative.
That's a very nice offer. That's the way to get a sales tax cut.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was well worth being there. Well attended. I think every township was there.
Good.
Um,
Well, they're having trouble with attendance. When I've gone, sometimes it'd be like a
Right.
handful of us.
Yeah,
So
I've
it
gone and
varies.
there's like nobody
Yeah.
there.
But it's good that it's picking up. All right, well, we'll
No.
see. We'll see. All right, anything else, Bill?
No.
Appreciate it. Steve?
Fair enough.
All right, so we'll just have a couple of resolutions. We're gonna scratch the STR, we've got the junkyard approvals. The pictometry one, there's an email that explains it, but basically it's something we do have to have a resolution on. So we'll see, it should be pretty straightforward. We pay per flyover.
Yeah, now, I guess, my question would be, with Google Maps, now, you can pretty much zoom in on any piece of property from the air.
Yep.
Why would we need this?
I've asked that question, I've been told that it's much more precise, and Google Maps is not legal, like when you actually sell, and you have to have parcels and tax code, tax numbers, Google isn't there yet. So that's why pictometry is still used.
Stay
Well, let's ask a fresh question, I haven't asked that in several years.
Right.
We can ask Tricia and see what she thinks.
Stay mandated.
She's pretty quick to reply,
I
I'll
mean,
ask her.
with AI and everything now,
And AI, sure.
I mean, I've got an app on my phone, a hunting app, that, I mean, I pull up my property lines than anybody else's in a heartbeat.
I'll ask her. She'll get back to me, she's pretty quick. So the question is, why can't we use Google Maps instead of paying for pictometry?
As a matter of fact, when I sat down with Chris for this discussion about my property taxes down at the lake, that's what we did, we pulled it up on Google Maps.
Well, yeah, the fastest way
That
to do it,
hunting
but
map is pretty accurate, I think, too. I don't know how
And it's up
legal
to
it
date
is.
within 6 months.
Yeah, I don't know how legal it is, but.
Is that a state mandate?
no,
So why
I
would you?
don't think so. It's in order to have the accuracy we need for the assessor to do the work, as well as the county, when the county files
Like
it.
we're all set.
It all has to be.
Hold on, stay away.
Yeah. All right, with that.
Well, we don't need it for real.
No, I think there's an option to not vote for it.
But if
How often
everybody,
is it? Is it every year?
It's every year.
if
We pay for
everybody
pictometry.
using it, like if, why
We
can't
got
I let
last
the
year's?
county buy it for
We
everybody?
paid for it last year.
So
I'm sorry, what?
Who'd we, I mean, 'cause she works for us.
how
and-
much is it?
Us and who?
It ends up being a couple $1,000s, like 2,000.
She works for
I
us.
forget exactly how much.
Right?
It's up to 3
No, it's a couple thousand for 3 flyovers.
for the flyovers, yeah, but I think it's a 2. I can get the exact number.
But she does assessment work for us and,
Just us now.
Just
Yeah,
us.
just us.
so, but I wonder if one of those other, if everybody's using it, why couldn't we?
I've asked that question too. I'll ask
But
it
why do
again.
we need it, why
Yeah.
can't we just walk out
It's
and
not an
measure
assessment
them?
It was
though, right?
Don
We need
Allen
it
up
for
at
non-assessment
the county
year.
that made everybody get it.
Okay, that's the 2 questions. One is, can we use other town county/county flyover data.
When I brought it up,
Why
I was an
did they
asshole.
off either? That's a negative way of saying it. Why not pass since it's not assessment year? Okay, good questions. Anything else? All right, we'll see you on Thursday. Thank you for coming. Thank you everybody for attending.
And I'll try to do that.
No, you're okay. I said, well, you better wait about 2 minutes.